Hey, Recharge, thank you so much for joining Angelo Giallombardo and myself this evening to talk about how to write your book and help it to become a best-selling book on Amazon. And Angelo's here with us. He is an executive recruiter, and he wrote his book last year, and it helped him to launch his coaching consulting business, which is wicked awesome. So, Angelo, can you introduce yourself and tell us more about the process and what inspired you to write the book?
Absolutely. So my name's Angelo Giallombardo. I'm a 39-year-old Sicilian male. I'm based in Ohio. Grew up in Ohio. So I'm an executive recruiter for the last 17 years, and I specialize in manufacturing markets. It's in my blood. My dad's an executive recruiter for 35 years. My grandpa's been in sales his whole life. And my brother was in recruiting with us for 10 years also. So it's really in our blood. I've been doing this, and I love doing this, but there was a time where I learned to love it. And as time went on, the last several years, I've realized I have a lot to offer others and contribute. And I want to help more people. I get to help people every day, but something in me wanted to help more and more people. So I decided that one way to do that was to coach others and start a new consulting business. And the way that I was going to do that came to me one night when I was dreaming. I had written down, the days prior, I had written down 50 ideas of new businesses that I wanted to start. And I wasn't sure which one I wanted to start. I was really searching for the next thing I wanted to do with my life to help more people. And I couldn't figure it out. I had this long list of ideas, and I didn't really know which one I wanted to pick. So I went to bed that night.
50's a lot to write down.
Yeah,
Were
it was
all
assignment.
similar ideas, or were they like all across the board?
They were all across the board. And this was
Yeah.
an assignment I did for this kind of course I was taking to launch a business.
Okay.
And so I was developing all these ideas. It was a brainstorming session. I spent almost all night writing these ideas out. I went to bed that night, and about 3:30 in the morning, I woke up from a dream. And in that moment, the first thought I had after my dream was, I got it. I'm going to write a book. I'm going to use my executive recruiting experience to write a book. And then all of a sudden, a cascade of ideas and energy started flowing through me. I was jazzed up, and it was really time to sleep, but I couldn't. So I ran to my kitchen table, and I started scribbling frantically in my notebook all these ideas about what the book was going to be about, all the thoughts I had, all the creative thoughts that came to me while I woke up from this dream. So I wrote it out, spent about an hour at the kitchen table. And then I went back to sleep, thankfully. And that was it. I knew right then and there that I was going to write a book about how to find a job in executive recruiting, because I've been teaching people and showing people how to do that for almost 17 years.
Yeah.
At that point, it was about 15 years. So it came to me one night after a dream, and then I was determined to make it happen.
Do you think, Angelo, that assignment of writing down your 50 business ideas, do you think that kind of sparked the creativity and got those creative juices flowing to help you, with that initial process?
100%. Yes, absolutely. The whole method of writing out your ideas and thinking creatively about what you would like to do with your life, how you can do more, things that you would want to do to help others, or to launch a business, or to create something. The whole creative process of writing things down is a very powerful one, and energy just kind of flows through you. So I think it was actually the spark that lit the fire in me to write the book. At the time, I didn't know I wanted to write a book. It was just one of the many ideas, but I didn't know what it was going to be about, and I kind of shelved it. But then when I woke up from that dream, I knew exactly what I wanted to write about, and I knew exactly what my purpose was in writing it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I feel like I had a similar experience where I knew that I was going to write a book for a long time, and I had started a lot of different books and never was that inspired. It felt very forced. And then one day, I woke up and it was like, this is it. This is it. I had my specific ideas and I just started writing, and it just felt right. And I see now, looking back on the other ideas that I had, that they weren't really ideas from my heart. And I didn't have the wisdom that I needed for my book back then. Like, I didn't have it all together. And then some key things happened in the past, few months that really brought it together. And it's like, okay, now's the time. And there's been no resistance to it. It's just been flowing so beautifully. And it's like, I know exactly what to do, which is really cool.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm kind of glad I didn't know how challenging it would be to write a book when I decided to do it. It was just a decision I made. And I think when you make a decision and your heart's behind it or energy is behind it, then you have that momentum to push you forward through all these obstacles. And there were many obstacles. And if I would have known about all of them before I actually took on the assignment of writing the book and publishing it myself, then I may not have wanted to go through it all. But looking back, it was an incredible experience of learning and perseverance, adjusting, being flexible, accepting, and sort of taking action at the right times to manifest, a bestseller on Amazon. And it was a powerful process. And I could talk a little bit more about that process and telling your audience a little bit more how it works.
And I see we have some people here watching. If you want to ask any questions or, let us know that you can hear us and you can see us and everything, that'd be awesome. And Angello has a wealth of knowledge and information on this. So feel free to ask any questions, and I know that he'll be able to address just about anything you have. So
cool. I think the way I would start talking about this with people that want to know more about it is when or if you decide to write a book, know why. I mean, know what your purpose is. In my case, I wanted to help more people. I was able to reach more people than I could at my job each day. And by reaching those people through a book, it would also create a legacy for me and leave a legacy for me of my knowledge and experience written out on paper or written out for the world to see in the future. So I was passing something along, and I felt like that was really valuable to me and to others. Right. And secondly, once you kind of know your purpose, use that. When things get challenging, remember why you're doing it. It'll help you persevere through some of those challenges. But the biggest things besides the why is, know what you want to write about. And sometimes it takes a little bit of research. Like, you may have to read 3 or 4, maybe 5 other people's books and do research. Document your research that you're doing. Get specific knowledge about what you want to write about before you attempt to sit down and start writing. So maybe review competitor books. Maybe review books that are related to your topic but have a different angle on it. But in the beginning, at least have a purpose and have a topic. And then once you do, and you do your research on your topic, then it's time to really start to figure out the next step, which is your outline. You want to write an outline. It's really important that you get your outline at least onto some type of paper or onto some kind of document so that you can adjust it and use it as a guideline to create the book that you want to write. There's a lot of different kinds of books to write, but knowing you have an outline in place will kind of create a structure for you to take things one step at a time. So I think it's really important that you have some kind of outline that you can use to look back upon when you get stuck.
Yeah, the outline makes it easy to organize your thoughts. Yeah,
I mean, and it's good. I mean, it's always good to have people around you that you can trust and so you may want to consult with them and have them look at your outline and see what they think about it. But you definitely want to have something on paper and outline your ideas. And then from there, after you've done your research and after you've done your outline, it's kind of start time to creating, writing, and getting all those ideas and those thoughts onto paper. You can always adjust them, you can always edit them, but the more you get down, the more you write down, the more is right in front of you to work with.
Right.
So starting to write, it's actually the hardest part, because it's all, once you have the outline there, it's all ready for you to create, but getting the first sentence out on the paper, writing your first few sentences, your first paragraph, and then writing your first chapter is always the most challenging, because it sets the tone for the book. It sets your tone for how you're going to, it's going to read to the person, how you're going to put your ideas together, and you kind of describe what your book's about in a chapter, or at least gets them on the path to the vibe and energy that your book is giving them. So
now, Angelo, how did you come up with your first sentence? I read, I think it was the introduction. I read the introduction of your book, and I love the way you started it off. And I'm just wondering how you came up with that idea. And I think you had a few questions that you started the book off with, right?
Yeah, and that was it. I think I started off just questions. So the best kind of way to get answers from yourself is to ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
Ask questions to yourself, ask questions to your audience, and then answer those questions throughout the book. The way I did it was I thought about, well, first of all, I used inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I did was on vacation, I went and spent some time by the ocean. And being by the ocean just helped the creative juices start flowing. And then when I got, into a place where I could start writing, it just flowed through me. I was energized. I felt like I had something to say, and I started writing the questions out. And after the first question or two, then I started realizing, okay, this is how I want to continue. And it just flowed. And then after that, I looked at it and said, I don't like how this started. So I actually got rid of that starting point and looked at a paragraph further down and said, well, I like the way this starts, and I can switch these, and I edited it a little bit. But getting the creative thoughts out on paper for me is the hardest part.
Yeah.
Just starting, getting it all out. It's kind of like just let it go onto the paper, let this creative flow come through you, and then later you can adjust it and edit it and alter it. But getting that first chapter out, that was a challenge. From there, I felt like, you know what? I got an outline in front of me. I know what I'm going to write about. So that second chapter, I knew what I was going to write about, and I just flew through it. Third chapter, flew through it. I think I wrote 4 chapters in a few days, like 2 days. And then it slowed down a little bit for me because I just slowed down the creative process. But getting it out in the beginning is one of the most challenging things. So when you have that creative flow going through you, I encourage you to just go with it, let it take you, and then you'll know when it's time to stop, and you can come back to it later.
I feel like that's so that's so relevant to so many different creative processes, where you let it flow through you, and then you'll just know, and just really trusting your intuition on those things. And was there anything specific that you did to tap into your intuition and to trust your intuition?
Yeah, well, as I mentioned, I was by the ocean. I went into the ocean. And then I meditated on the beach afterwards. So that really was helpful. I was quiet. I quieted my mind.
Yeah.
And I made sure that I was just being. And then when that kind of soaked into me early in the morning, then an hour or two later I went upstairs and I was just ready. So meditation is very helpful. It helps you calm any anxieties or fears you have, and will really kind of allow that creative flow to come through you, and there'll be less resistance than you had before.
Yeah, that's great.
Mm-hmm. So once we did that, I mean, I just continued to write, and I wrote the book throughout it for 2 months. It was actually a quick process, but writing the book it felt great. Every time I got a chapter out, I felt like I accomplished something.
Yeah.
That day went really well. Every time I wrote the book chapter, then the following moments were just, it was blissful. But once you have it all written out, I mean, that's just your first draft. I mean, people think about that being as the book, but really that's just your first draft, and it's just one step in the whole process. And I think this is when we want to start talking about, what did I want to do with my book? I wanted to launch a coaching and consulting business with it, and I used it to do that. And the way I did that was I built a community, and you must build a community of people to give you constructive feedback, give you ideas, to show you what they want to hear about, so you can build your ideas around their needs, and also to market to them and get their feedback on all the things you're going through in the book process, what they like, what they don't. So I built a community. I started a group. I went to industry peers. I went to friends and family, people that would know something about the work I do. I asked them questions. I engaged with them. I used them every step of the way. But the first thing I asked them to do was to look over my book, whatever I wrote. What do they think of it? Right. And many of them looked through it. They didn't read it all, but they'd read chapters, and maybe I'd give a different chapter to different people, and they would give me their constructive feedback. And I used that to edit the book and alter it and make it better. So that's the next step, is after you write your first draft, have your book reviewed by at least a few friends, 2, 3, 4, 5 friends, people that you know that maybe will use the book, or your target audience that will enjoy the book, and let them know that you're promising them something in exchange. You're promising them a free copy of your book when it comes out. Because you have to give something to get something in life. Right. Sometimes. So that was really helpful. I had people review the book on their own. And then after that, the next step was really, after they reviewed it and I edited it a little bit, I need to get a professional editor to take a look at it. And that was a long process also. So I hired an editor. She was great. Her name was Lori Draft. Perfect name for an editor. She took a look at my first draft, my first edits of my book, and she edited all of it. And I had to pay her, obviously, and she's well worth the money that I paid her. And actually, throughout the process, I had her edit it 3 times so that I could make the book as good as can be. But getting a good copy editor is really important. You can have your friends look at it and your family look at it and your target audience, but they may not have the grammar knowledge that you want for someone to edit it. They just may have the ideas about what they want to read about, what they want to hear about. So getting someone that has professional grammar editing skills is really important.
How did you find her? How did you?
A referral. She was a great referral. Somebody else I know that wrote a book mentioned that she was the best. I found her. I searched for her. I located her. It took me a couple weeks, and once I did, then she was busy. She couldn't help me, so I had to wait for a few weeks to get the book. But she did, and I was really grateful to her. But finding a good copy editor is so super important. So, after that, it's really important that you start engaging your audience a little bit more. You want to engage the audience, ask them what they want, what they don't want, start talking to them about the ideas in the book. If there's something missing, start getting their thoughts on, what it is that they want to hear about, because you're going to be speaking to them when you're writing. The formatting, you got to have the right format. So it's important to get the format right. So you have to hire someone to do the formatting. It could be a hardcover, or it could be a PDF file, Word document, could be on CreateSpace on Amazon. There are specific pros that know how to format. So I had to hire a formatter, someone that can format my book into different ways of reading it, as we just talked about. One of them's Kindle, one of them's Word document, one of them's for PDFs. It's a bunch of different ways to format it. So I hired a formatter. He was great. He took my book after the final edit, and he put it in the right formats. You know, I think after that, you really want to start to look at, you know, what's your audience going to use the book for? How can you engage them in a way that they want to work with you more after reading your book? So when you engage them, you're sort of building this community. And I had to write a title for the book. I didn't know what it was going to be. But once again, I went back to the drawing board. I spent, a day writing down different book titles. I had 20 some book titles that I liked. I crossed off 7 of them, had 13 left. I crossed off 5 more, had 8 left. I took the final 5 that I had, and I asked my community which one they liked the best. Yeah. And I took their votes, and then I used the title that they picked. And then I did the same thing on SurveyMonkey, which is a place you can survey. Yep. And they gave me the same title. So that was it. That was the book. That was the title. So ask your community about what they like, what they don't, because they're going to be the people that buy your book, that use your book.
Now, Anthony, you had mentioned that you started a group. What do you mean? Was it an in-person group? Was it an online community? What kind of group was that?
It was a Facebook group. Facebook group, and I started that group. But I also did it organically. I didn't just call people on message people on Facebook. I called people on the phone, my friends, people that I know. I actually researched people that would be like into my topic about executive recruiting, about finding a job. I used my network at work and on LinkedIn to build a community also. I found out who would need my book. I let them in my group. Once they had been in my group, I promised them a free book. Their feedback was crucial, and I did that when I launched it. So it was really about getting their information from them, and then me giving them something for it, which was the book that they would hopefully use to help them. There's a lot of things you can do for building a community, but it's really important that you engage the community. Talk to them daily, get their questions, get their answers to your questions, feedback. I use the community to also design my book cover. One of the next steps is getting an incredible cover. If you don't have a good cover, then you're in trouble. So I had to hire a cover designer, and he was a great artist. He gave me a list of 10 different cover designs that he thought would be good. I picked 3 of them, and I sent them to test to my audience. My audience tested them. They told me what they liked. Nice. I picked the ones that my audience liked. So, yeah, it was important.
It's a beautiful cover, by the way. It came out really good.
It did. He did a fabulous job. You have to get a professional photo of yourself, though, too. Some of us have these, some of us don't. But getting a photo is important because you're going to put that photo on the book somewhere. They get to know your face. It'll be more intimate for them. Yeah. So once you get the cover designs and you get a professional image, make sure that book is edited for a last time. Get that 3D image of that book design in front of you so you know what it looks like. I think it's important that you kind of understand how it's going to look 3D, not just on the computer. Yeah. But if they could do a 3D rendering of it, you should do that because it's helpful to you to it makes it more real. You're gonna have to write a bio for yourself. You get that ready. You're gonna have to write some type of information out for the back of the book, the inside cover of the book. There's so many different things you have to plan. It's a long list of things, but I'm jumping to the most crucial things right now because those things are important: the title, the cover, and also making sure that you have get all these people involved to ask them what they want.
I love that idea of asking the community because I'm an artist and I tend to get attached to things, and I have this special relationship with the things that I create, but just letting go of that attachment and remembering this isn't about me. This is about the people I'm helping. So why not let them, really design the book for what they need and what they're going to be getting from it.
That's exactly what I did too. I
Yeah.
just asked every step of the way. I did it on Facebook. I also did it on LinkedIn. I just built a community around this whole launch of the book.
Yeah, I love that.
And
That's
then
awesome.
before I did that, I wanted to make sure I had a plan in place. So I didn't know if it would be successful or not on Amazon,
Right.
but I did know that I was going to use that book to get people into my funnel. So be prepared. Have an idea of what your offering is besides the book. I mean, the book is going to be a tool to get them to know about your higher consulting or coaching service,
Right.
or it's a tool to get them on your courses or your workshops or engaged in your business. So the book is an incredible marketing tool, one of the best you can ever have to engage your audience, to get them involved with you, and to get them through your pipeline, your sales pipeline. It's not really about selling them so much as it about offering a service. And I think being of service and having the best intentions is really important. Having pure intentions, it doesn't have to be about money. It could just be about wanting to help others. And that's what drove me to do this. So I think that was helpful throughout my process. When I felt stuck, I knew I had a purpose to help others.
Absolutely.
So you definitely want to set up, some type of funnel system or link that they can go to. Maybe even have it in your book, so that that people will go to your book and use it to get more engaged with you. And that helped me. I mean, after I wrote the book, my followers exploded on LinkedIn. I had so many more contacts, new clients. I had a record-setting year at my company. I was very grateful for that. There's a lot of work to do with Amazon. If you're going to put it on Amazon, there's a whole art to it. It's not a simple process. They're very picky. You have to have certain formats, certain files, and so they'll walk you through that on this site they have called Create Space.
Okay.
But it's a lot. So it took me 2 months to get through that alone. A lot of work to do on there, and then you can set it up to be launched, but make sure it's all perfect the way you want it to be before you do that. And Amazon does a good job of making sure you're within their parameters anyhow.
Right.
I would say, it's good to get your book just polished and ready. Get it professionally printed. Get someone engaged that can do a press release for you. Hire people around the book that can help you with the launch of the book to take some of the pressure off of you. So those are things that can help you.
Now, what did you do for a press release? You said you hire somebody to help you with that. What exactly was that, and what did they do for you?
Yeah, it was just an online press release, and it was free at the time. And it launched it out to, I think it was 200 publications. Okay. And it just got it out there. It got it out there on Twitter. It got it out there on social media. It got it out there in newspapers. And it was a free service at the time. You can upgrade and pay for it, and it costs a lot more, and you get more visibility. But some kind of press release, you have to write your own bio. You have to write your own press release. You have to write your own, marketing copy when you go to build your funnel. So there's a lot of things you have to do besides just do the book. But you're building a whole structure around the book so that you can launch it into another business idea. But there's other things you have to do on Amazon, like SEO. You have to make sure you fill out all the SEO correctly so that you bring people to the right place in your book.
Right.
You have to test everything on your landing pages, your email funnels, your sales funnels. Test them all before your launch date, because if you launch and it doesn't work, then you're going to take a lot of time.
Right, exactly.
And then lastly, you build through your audience and through your group that you build and the people around the book, you build a community that will help you launch the book, so that you're in constant communication with these people. The weeks leading up to the launch, you're telling them, my launch is April 21st. I need you to post this on social media. You're going to get a free copy of the book, but please help me advertise it. Please help me market it. And you're getting them engaged with it and getting them to show their audience so that their audience goes to buy your book when it launches. And one of the things about the Amazon algorithm is you want to launch it to success, meaning you want people to buy it right away. The faster they buy it, the faster it shoots up Amazon's charts. So, you don't want it to be a slow drawn out process. Speed is important. So if you get a launch team together, I had a list of, wow, it's here. There's probably 40 names on this launch list. I emailed them, I messaged them, I called them, I texted them. I got them ready for that launch date. So the moment I launched at that 11 o'clock hour, it was ready. They were ready. Everybody was engaged, and it helped everyone to buy the book all at once.
Yeah.
And it shot me up the charts, and I was number 1 in 14 categories.
Now,
So that's one of the keys.
I'm like, are you hearing the echoing?
No.
Okay. How soon before the launch did you do this process? Like, how was it, like a month before or 2 months that you really got people ready for it?
Well, it was 2 months, and then the month before I put them on my launch team.
Yeah.
Then 2 weeks before I updated them, telling them what was going on. I'm writing them an email almost every day, getting them ready. 2 days before the book launches, getting them ready, confirming everything. And then finally, bless you, finally, it all just happened where we all launched together.
Yeah.
And everybody kind of helped it to be a success. So
I love that. I love the community aspect. And I haven't heard that. I've heard a lot of people talk about the process of writing their books. And I think I've heard one person talk about the community aspect, but it's, I think it just brings this great energy behind it, and it's really makes it about the audience and not just about the author. I like that a lot.
It is about the audience, though, because they're the ones that are going to buy the book. They're the ones that are going to enjoy the book.
Yeah, yeah.
So I really think building a community around this is so important. It sounds hard to do, but I'm telling you, it's really not. It just takes a little perseverance, a little persuasion. There's nothing wrong with giving away a free copies of your book so that others can go to buy it. And really, if it's really about helping others and not just making money, then you shouldn't have a problem with building a community, giving them information, giving them ideas, giving them the book, helping them to pass it along, because books are one of the ground roots efforts, the ground roots grass efforts that we still communicate about.
Right, exactly.
You told me about a book you were reading, and I was telling you about a book I was reading, and we both liked it, so we went and got it ourselves. And I think building a community is really important, because people talk and they want to know what other people like, and it has changed their life. And a book has the potential to change your life. It's a piece of art.
Absolutely.
And it's also like an amazing tool to impact your thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and inspire you.
Yeah, it's such a good way to uplift our collective humanity. There are books that I reread several times, regularly. And wouldn't it be cool to, like, I know, Angelo, there are people who have read your book several times too, and just think about the impact you're having them. Like, they see that book on their shelf and it like has this trigger, where it's like, yes, it reminds them of the feeling that they had when they read it. And, it's making a difference for them. It's like something tangible they can have in their home where, it just reminds them of, what they have inside of them, and, the guidance and wisdom from you. And it's such an intimate and special kind of a gift.
Yeah, I'm really grateful that it all kind of came out that way for me. And I'm grateful for the people that helped me with the book, and the community I built. And the crazy thing is, now it's been about a year, almost 2 years now that I wrote the book and it went number 1. I'm writing a new book.
Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about the new book?
Yeah, it's exciting. The new book is geared towards people that are hiring others. So hiring managers. They're geared towards people that manage other people. It's talking a lot about why the systems are broken
Mm.
in business of hiring people. Why is it difficult? Why don't we ever hire the right people? Why isn't there right communication?
Right.
I have some intimate knowledge of this working with these big corporations that don't seem to hire the right people at the right time. And so I decided I was going to help people that manage others to find out how to hire the right person. What does it take? What's the price? What's the process? What's the right process to get it done right? So that's what the book's about. It'll be coming out, I don't know when, because I'm still writing it.
Yeah, yeah.
And the exciting thing, though, the creative process is actually the funnest process. After that, it's a lot of managing and
Right.
launching, and that's fun. But I think getting it all out, getting the ideas out there, that's really it's fulfilling because you're able to put something that's in your head onto something, a paper or document that others can learn from.
Yeah, absolutely. I can totally see that.
So
Well,
I'll get everybody updated as to what's going on with the new book. I don't know.
Yeah, keep us updated, and we will absolutely share, whatever you need us to share. And I really appreciate you, doing this video with us this evening, Angelo. This is really helpful for everybody who is looking to write a book. Maybe they're dreaming about it. Maybe it seems out of reach. But I think that you gave us a really realistic view of what it looks like, and some really key pieces of wisdom about the whole thing. And just a couple of takeaways that I got from this conversation was the community and hiring people. So many people feel like they have to do it themselves the whole way through. And then they go to launch the book and it's like crickets, and nobody buys the book. And then it's like, what did I do that for? But I love how you brought in so many different voices and knowledge bases, and leverage the skills of other people to help to bring this together.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and I appreciate that, and I would encourage your group and listeners to please message me on Facebook or anywhere just to ask questions. I'll be happy to answer them. Give any guidance. If they need specifics, I'd be happy to do that. I'll share whatever I can with them because I'm an open book myself. I want to pass on the knowledge and experience I have so people can learn from it and grow and get better. So feel free to contact me anytime.
Absolutely, Angelo. And you guys feel free to post any questions in the video, in the comments here, and we can also get back to you that way too. But definitely, reach out to Angelo. And yeah, I think, do you have anything, last words you want to say, Angelo, before we?
No, I'm just really thankful that, the journey that it's been, and I'm really thankful that, I got a chance to talk to your audience about the book and what it means, and also how to do it. So I hope that they can take something positive from it, and I wish you all the best.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Have a wonderful night.
Good talking with you, Sarah. Have a good one.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.